Hello guys and gals, Bored now back with you as I check my forehead. On this video I will be talking about this week's Spides. So this is going to be episode 6 of the first season, and the episode is called This Calling. And I'm not really sure if there's going to be a season 2 of this. I think there might be, just by some of the stuff going on in this episode. I think there's certain things which you feel may be setting up for a future season, but we'll have to wait and see anyway. But holy cow, what a whirlwind of an episode. There is so much shit going down in this one. Too much really for me to talk about, and I think this is why it's a pretty good episode, because really this show is complete trash. So I think it's definitely at its best when you get in the trippy, crazy, like sci-fi type shit. That it's just so insane. It's just so bonkers. You kind of enjoy it. It is so bad it's kind of good. And I think the last couple of episodes, things have definitely picked up a bit on that front. So I will start with talking about Nora's side of the plot. The last episode ended with her and the gang basically cornered in a room. They'd obviously found the nightclub and seen what was going on. And so Trixie catches up with them. Trixie, who of course is really Carla, is high on bliss, is being controlled, and she's one of them, and she explains the whole thing to Nora. She says, well, we have a psychic connection, which we actually see some of that shit going on, and she explains to her about that they're an army, and they're an army of aliens, and this is their calling. So in this, I think it's been hinted at in previous episodes, but in this they do sort of confirm that there's some UFO stuff going on, and there's some fun stuff they do with that later on. But Trixie explains the whole thing, and it slowly dawns on Nora, oh my god, am I the queen bee? She doesn't say that, but it dawns on her that she's actually the queen of the set. And yeah, Pixie basically ends up dead, but the truth comes out to Nora. And Marie calls in the police, obviously because she's got a body there, but she doesn't tell them the truth, the full story, partly because she doesn't think they'll believe her. But little does she know, of course they will, because they're corrupt and they're sort of in on all this business. But she leaves out some details and kind of says, well, she was just a regular at the cafe. She was an addict, and here you are, sort of thing. So she's purposely leaving stuff out. Although I think they do have some idea at this point, then the cops in Berlin are dodgy. So I think that is part of Marie's thinking. But oh my god, I have to talk about Nora and Luca, because what the hell's going on with this storyline? This is one of those forced sort of soap type plots that feel then it's maybe going to build to something a little later on. You could see them coming back to this, but they kind of pair off together because Peter's sort of gone back to the hospital or the institute, and as I said, Marie calls in the cops. So Luca and Nora hang out together, and they come up with this idea to basically, because they recorded a video of Trixie and what happened to her, so they've decided to put it online to make it public, just to kind of make everyone aware, and it gives them a bit of power. And it's at this point where we actually get some good comedy in the episode, because I just love the title of the video. The title of the video is Proof of Aliens in Berlin, which is great. What an awesome title for a video. I would click on that the moment I saw it. And the comedy just keeps coming, actually, because they start getting like these like ridiculous sort of comments, because obviously you've got Trixie in the video, and yeah, she's a decent, pretty good looking girl. So one of them says she's hot. She can ride on my spaceship any day, which is brilliant. I absolutely love it. So you're getting like these sort of funny little comments in the section, but then, oh my god, the video then gets hacked, and Luca freaks the hell out. He runs off, and Nora has no idea why. He's like, "Oh, do you want to come down the pub with me?" And so they do. So the next time we see them, they're down the pub, and Luca is actually opening up to her. That's when he tells her about his past with the drugs, his connection to the Russian mob, why he was in witness protection. And I had a feeling they were going this way. He says to her that's why I panicked about the whole online thing, because I could get tracked. And so when they were hacked, that's kind of why he freaked out. You would have thought he might have thought of that before they posted the video, but I guess you wouldn't necessarily assume that. Then you would think you're probably pretty safe just posting a video. But in any event, that's why he freaks out. So he explains this to Nora. But they're throwing back beards, and there's actually a bit of flirtation between them. I couldn't believe they were actually doing this storyline. And he asks, because he obviously doesn't know about her and Peter, and so asks, do you have a boyfriend or anything serious? And I think he asks her about her and Peter, and says no, it's not really serious. And it's like, are you shitting me, Nora? You gotta be kidding me. I mean, Peter's a douche, but come on. It seems to me like your relationship with him has been pretty serious. I mean, the guy, you were having romantic like Thai evenings with him, Thai food and wine. Come on, the dude was splashing out. He was like romancing it up, and you have the nerve to say, "Oh no, it was nothing. It's a casual thing." And I have to say, what are they doing with this character now? Because she's like the lead character. You're supposed to like her. And now she's just, poor Peter, who is a dick, but he's been putting his career on the line for her, and kind of other stuff in a way. He's put himself in jeopardy for her. And then she's saying to roguish Luca, she's like, well, it's just a casual thing. So watch this space, because there may still be something more with Luca and Nora. But I thought, what are they doing to this character? Not that she's still a pretty cool character, but I just thought, is this really the Nora we know? Is she really someone who behaves like this, who acts quite shallow? I sort of got the impression she had strong feelings for Luke, not Luca, sorry, Peter. But well, there you have it. There's that stuff. Speaking of Peter, he goes back to work and he tells the doctor then he's not going to spy on Nora anymore for her. He says, "Sorry, I'm out. I can't do this anymore." So then there's one of those kind of generic type scenes where the doctor like uses her powers against him, says, because he says when she like threatens to expose him, Peter's like, well, I've got as much on you as you've got on me. And she does that classic thing of a villain in this whole thing where she says, yeah, but who are they going to believe? Are they going to believe a respective like research doctor like me, or are they going to believe like a junkie like you? A bit harsh to call him a junkie maybe, but obviously he has a bit of history with the Bliss. So there's that sort of stand up, but he basically says, I don't care about my internship, I don't care what you've got on me. That's it, I'm not doing this anymore. And so it's all very heroic. But it does lead to trouble in paradise with him and Nora because he comes clean to her later on than he was spying on her, and she really goes off on him. At the time that they're like doing this mission, so she doesn't have much of a chance to react, but she's like, oh my god, I'm too pissed at you right now. And so that makes me think even more than there could be something with Nora and Luca later on, but you sort of thinking that could be a next season sort of plot, with them knocking back more beers maybe. But yeah, Nora has another dream, which is like her and like an army of ants again. So she gets even more freaked out. And it really goes into like the whole insect stuff in this. It really is some weird sort of stuff. But yeah, they end up going to like the underground like catacomb sort of thing. Um, yeah, and that's when Peter comes clean to her and she goes off on him. But yeah, they find like these. This is actually the end of the episode, but they find like these creatures inside human sort of bodies. But yeah, they end up coming across one of the bald headed the slapheads who we've seen before, like in pairs, who were reacting to like the sort of events, like the effects of the drugs and like Nora's like experiences before, so hooked up to like these tentacles that they come across him basically, and the episode ends with him like screaming and freaking them out. So it's a pretty cool end to the episode. Just switching to sort of the other plot. You've still got the Russian mob guy. He's still like held by Dave, and they obviously make a deal. Then he tries to get his son, the one who looks like a playboy sort of male model. So he does a bit of tracking him. This stuff is kind of boring, really, but the funny side to that is then it leads to while Dave's like out tracking his son, it leads to the mob guy being discovered by the guy who's who's like the drug pusher, the guy. I should get all these names, but there's just so many people in this show. But the one who's basically was looking after Sarah and kind of working with her, that guy, the bearded dude, the one who looks really creepy, and he's sent because Dave is at this point putting pressure on. He goes to visit Townsend, the one who like runs the institute, and kind of makes it clear, I know what you're up to, I know what's going on, and is applying pressure onto him. Dave also meets with Nora and Marie in this episode, by the way. Oh, I told you this episode was full of like classic lines, because they open up about, they tell the truth to him. They say about, the Russian mobsters and the drugs, and then they mention the aliens, and I think they mention the fact that Nora's like the queen or something, or they certainly mention aliens, and that they go in not expecting Dave to believe them, but he obviously already knows a lot of this stuff. The only bit he doesn't know is about the aliens. So he says, "No, I actually believe you about like the Russian mob and about the drugs and stuff. The alien stuff in Berlin, maybe," sort of thing. So they're actually pretty impressed, and he agrees to help them, obviously. But then later on, and I think Nora comes out of this episode pretty bad, because she's quite fickle, because when they first meet with Dave, she's quite positive and is kind of saying, oh my, he's actually on our side, and she's actually praising him. But then later on, when they don't hear back from him like straight away, and they decide, okay, we've got to go to this place, she's kind of like bad mouthing him to Marie, because I'm saying, well, he said he would contact us and he hasn't, so can we really trust him? It just shows you how fickle Nora is, or fickle Nora is in this episode. But then there's another funny line when they go to, they're at Nora's house, and she comes out with the truth to her mother. And she basically says the sort of like this condensed sort of truth, and about her being like the queen bee. Like, I can't remember if she says an actual alien, but yeah, it's just another one of these funny sort of lines, because obviously this is the first the mother has heard of any of this, and naturally she doesn't believe her. Actually, I should also say, before I get back to the other plot, then Sarah, who has gone rogue now, she tracks down Nora in this episode. So she actually like goes to her house, and they have a big like emotional like reunion, which is, pretty good scene. But she says to Nora, you can't tell your mum that I'm here, and she can't know. So Nora agrees. So we're going to have one of like these funny sort of TV type plots where she's, at least for the time being, she's going to stay with Laura in her bedroom, and she's going to have to like be really quiet when the mother's around. So that's pretty funny, and also the creepy guy, the one with the beard, contacts her. We get a flashback from 10 years ago, from when he discovered Sarah in the hospital and obviously decided to adopt her. And we have a phone conversation with those two, where Dave says then he's going to visit her. Or sorry, she says to him then she's gonna go and meet Nora, and he kind of has no choice but to go along with it. But all he does is he basically says, whatever you do, don't tell her the truth, because if you do, I'm gonna track down her family and kill her. Well, kill her and kill everyone she loves. And it's this eerie sort of conversation because he's like talking to her like a father, even though he's making this threat. And he just hangs up the phone with like this "I love you" sort of thing, or my love, he calls her, I think. So it's this eerie sort of message from him. But yeah, so that stuff's like picking up pace as well. But yeah, getting back to what I was saying, the bearded guy finds, when he goes to Dave's house to basically eliminate him because he's been told by Tungsten and this guy's trouble, he's trying to interfere with our affairs, take him out. Then the bearded guy, whatever his name is, comes across the Russian mob guy who's obviously still handcuffed to the to to the radiator. I don't know why I struggled with that, but to the radiator. And there's another funny line, the way the mob guy reacts. It's like, "Who the fuck are you?" Which is great. And he's like, "Well, I know who you are." And I think that's the last we saw of it in this week's episode. But I think you can see there's going to be some meaty stuff come out of that. The other interesting thing in the episode was then Dave's boss, who of course is on the up and up, she decides to try and go to a superior at the police force, to try and basically say then there's all this corruption going on, we need to do something about it, to try and basically get some prosecutions and to sort the issue out. And the old son of a gun, he's like 2 months from retirement, so basically he doesn't want to rock the boat. But of course, with this being Spides, there's more to it than that. And he's basically this went really dark really fast, because he tells her that he has porn on his computer, and I'm assuming it's child porn, although he doesn't actually say that. And that's why he's scared to speak out against them or to do anything, because they can expose him if they do. And so I was actually amazed this scene went as dark as it did. And he says, "My wife knows I've already got a problem, and this would really devastate her." So then, I forget the character's name, but the woman superior basically says, "Okay, then let me sort it out. I'll deal with it, basically. You don't really have to get involved." But then Gil, his name is basically, "Well, I can't let you do that." And man, this storyline goes places, because he actually shoots her. And he says before he shoots her, "Well, my wife won't believe me, but she'll believe that I was having an affair with you, obviously." So she shoots, he shoots her, and then he shoots himself. But what's weird is, as far as I know, he never leaves the suicide note. Well, obviously, because he didn't know. When she came into his office, he didn't know what was going on. So this was not pre-planned. So he just comes up with this batshit like sort of like cover story. Then they were having an affair. So then he shot her and then shot himself, or something along those lines. And it's just like, where the hell is this stuff coming from? So that's obviously Dave discovers her later on and kind of sees, and again the corruption runs really deep and there's all these issues. So there you have it, and I think the most eventful week of Spides I've had. I actually enjoyed that. There was a lot of funny dialogue, some crazy shit going on. Yeah, just plenty going on in both sides of the plot. So there you have it, Spides, episode 6. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below if you've been watching along, and how have you been enjoying it? I guess for me it has been a bit of a guilty pleasure. Obviously I can't say it's been a good show, but I think there is something quite trippy about it that I do enjoy, and it's certainly very watchable, even though it's generally quite bad. But there is something quite enjoyable. So I'll continue along with Spides. There's 2 more left now in this season, so you can expect the review of episode 7 probably about this time next week. But thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys again soon.